Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Circularists. And today I'm thrilled and honoured to be talking to Dr. Oxaku Tehu Kax. How did I do with the pronunciation, Doctor?
All right. So you were excellent up until the last name, and it's just one difference. It's Oxaku Tehu Kax.
Kachocho.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
So, welcome, and I'm thrilled to be talking to you and to know a little bit more about your work and your world. I'm going to give you the floor to make your own introduction, but I would just say that from what I've learned of you, you come from indigenous parents. You come from an indigenous backstory and background. You have since passed through the US military, the Marine Corps. You've served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and you've returned to nature, to the front, a different front line this time, the front line of the climate emergency, and the mission to save humanity from its worst impacts. Is that a decent paraphrase of what we've just talked about?
I'd say that can work. I see it a little bit different. So being here on the front lines, I believe that we are in the middle of the mess. You know, a lot of times when it's presented, people speak in a sense like it's coming, and we know different. It's here. We're in the middle of the mess, and a lot of what we do is about action, resilience, and continuity beyond the mess and beyond the Great Reset. So I would say that what you said is pretty accurate, aside from the fact that we are in the middle of this right now, deeply in the middle of it. And a lot of times in the movies, the leaders are presidents, prime ministers, political figures. We beg to differ. We would say that the leadership are in the people who have been connected to the planet, who have maintained a long line of stewardship of the planet. And because of the images in movies aren't controlled by us, you know, we tend to be marginalized. So leadership on the planet and from our perspective would be those indigenous cultures and that indigenous wisdom. And it's something that's being overlooked, especially when you come from a scientific perspective of climate action, climate change, what are we to do? So our organization, the people involved, we have a perfect balance between science and indigenous wisdom. And my background, I hail from two great indigenous cultures, one from the East, one from the West. I operate in South Asia as well as Central America. The majority of our operations surrounding collecting data sets, running ranger units, decentralized sustainable development models. We are pioneers in that aspect because this is something that hasn't been done before. We're finding ourselves in the middle of new emerging technologies and innovation, and we're out here on the front lines and we're instantly seeing a change. And that change is people feeling the need to cut down the bush and the forest.
I'm going to ask you something, a couple of things. So you mentioned your organization. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what your organization is and what the mission is and what the work is.
How we can use those technologies in a balanced way. The way we see it is this. There's an aspect of people who are preaching the word of where they're more digitally oriented. Then there's an aspect of people who are more like actually out in the environment, are more ecocentrically oriented. We are right on the cusp. We are very balanced. You understand? So most of us are indigenous people, but we are scientists. We are, there's so many degrees associated with us. We are rangers. So the balance is great with us, and we are able to see how to utilize these technologies in a balanced way where a lot of groups aren't. I said earlier, they're blocked by the cubicles.
I see.
And
I see.
we're a school without walls,
Right.
so it's like we're able to see a lot of innovative ways to apply that, and I can explain and go into more details later.
Okay, cool. I understand. So your indigenous peoples harnessing innovations and technologies out in the field to apply it in situ in real life situations and circumstances. Right?
Exactly.
What are you referring to?
Well, the organization that I'm representing, I represent a group of organizations that kind of come under one banner. That banner is the GeoCOMPASS Center.
Okay.
GeoCOMPASS Center was established in the United States as a 501c3, but we also have corresponding organizations that operate here in Belize, Central America, and Thailand and Indonesia in the rainforest. We actually have rainforest research centers where we run ranger units, the Gecko Ranger Command, and those ranger units are responsible for geospatial data analysis, collecting data sets on the biodiversity, on the biocultural heritages that exist in the areas where we work and operate. So that is what we do. Now, living here, we are also cultivating a integrative ranger culture that is a mix of our indigenous backgrounds, our indigenous upbringings, and a mix of the scientific upbringing as far as the way that we live and the way that we operate as rangers. So I guess applying that to the Circularists modem, or making it relevant to Circularists, I'll give you an example.
Cool.
When we landed on the ground here to build our research center, right? We did not want to disturb nature. We did not want to set up a large carbon footprint that wasn't integrated into the nature. So we came out, we camped, we did everything in a primitive way, and then we adapted over the years, because we've been out here over 10 years in both areas. We adapted a culture and a liberty of where we actually grew our research centers from the ground up. One of the things we did was we said, hey, one of the things we have to master in putting our boots on the ground here is waste.
Right.
We have to make sure that our waste becomes wealth. We have to set up systems. We immediately started adapting and improvising and pioneering in new biogas systems just for our specific research centers. So now all our research centers run off of biogas.
What is biogas?
All our waste.
What is
biogas is methane that's produced in digesters. So instead of having a traditional septic tank of where you use the bathroom and it goes into the ground and it sits there and breaks down, we actually built generators in the ground that are like large stomachs that are digesting the waste, processing the waste, releasing an effluent that we use to fertilize our forest gardens, and then releasing gas that we use to power our infrastructures here. We cook, we run generators, everything from that waste. So we're able to, in our culture, we call it naka, or the dragon biting its tail. So we were to create a circular condition to root everything in, or where our waste is being utilized for our main energy source and for our main fertilization of
Beautiful.
our food
Beautiful.
source.
I like the mindfulness with which you went into that space. You went in mindful to go circular and to do something that would conserve the area. And this waste becomes wealth. I just love that phrase because that's at the heart of circularity and the circular economy that everyone's talking about and dreaming about, but as yet haven't built. So can I just ask you, this research center that you've powered with circular energy, if you like, renewable energy in a circular fashion, is this something that can be replicated at scale? Why isn't everybody doing this?
We want to, well, we actually are open sourcing a lot of that information. The answer to your question, why others aren't doing it, is because there's a block. And I have to mention that block, right? Part of our funding woes was knocked out of the box when Satoshi Nakamoto came on the scene with the white paper, the Bitcoin white paper. This is freedom. This allows us to create systems, governing systems, of where we actually have a GeoCOMPASS blockchain where we sell governance tokens that are attached to each project. Well, yeah, we can take the basics, the basic DNA and create something totally different. Satoshi Nakamoto went forward. You're from UK, right? And I'm sure you know a lot of West Indian people.
Yeah.
You know, and none of us have a problem with grabbing a machete and chopping bush to carve a path. You understand? So that's what Satoshi Nakamoto did for us. We give thanks to Satoshi Nakamoto for doing that. And now we're free because we can do the same for ourselves.
Right.
You know, so it's like this thing is a free for all. It can go anywhere. It's sky's the limit. This is some real Star Trek, Star Wars type vibrations happening here. You understand? And we're not realizing it because we keep bringing in our propensity to do things in the old ways. Or
get this one into the video. So system change. The world needs system change. We need to build an alternative to the linear systems that we've currently arrived at. They're just built on the wrong philosophy of take, make, waste, plunder, abuse. So we've just been talking about blockchain and the whole freedom from having to ask permission. There are so many people around the world, and I started this Circularist series to just record and give voice to the many people who aren't waiting for permission, who have woken up and wanted to move into action. How are you saying that you can see blockchain as facilitating our efforts?
And what we're not realizing is that fiat currencies are delusions. The linear system is dying because it does not last. It is not ecocentric. You know, human centrism is our folly. You know, we believe that everything centers around what we want it to be, when actuality, we play a part in a greater system. The thread is that human beings are meant to be stewards, the workers maintaining the ecology.
Yes.
You know, we're supposed to be scientists. We're supposed to play a role as scientists. Indigenous people aren't just primitive people that were running around. They were scientists maintaining vital ecosystems. So like this thing that you're doing, right? This is a powerful thing. This is a very valuable thing, right? You are disseminating information independently.
Right.
This is peer-to-peer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are interfacing with people who in a clear and conscious way, and forwarding and allowing them to disseminate ideas, right?
Right.
That would not be able to be disseminated under traditional systems. One, because
what are we going to do? What does the world need to do? What does humanity need to do to save ourselves?
Do you really
big question.
Do you really want to know that question? I will tell you something that scares most Westerners, right? Dehydrating, you understand? We see it. So a lot of our planning is based in the resurrection and the realization of that. We're not in the delusion that death is going to happen. It's happening now. And everything and everything that we are doing has to have meaning now. We don't have time to sit around in cubicles and offices and debate. You know, all we have time to do is act, apply resilient systems that are focused on continuity. Whatever works, break it down into our recycling system, take the pieces that do work and rebuild a whole nother or apply a whole new system. That's how nature works. That's how ecosystems work.
To another question. So what's a typical day in your life? What does it look like out there in Belize, in nature?
An average day?
Yeah.
Well, getting up at 3 a.m. and doing an AM meditation and watching the sunrise and just kind of going through a basic synopsis of the things that need to be done for the day, you know. Now we're in nature, so we have to always think about water sources, food sources. You know, if this section of the food forest or the garden looks to be having trouble, we need to figure out remediation plans. Everybody's supposed to be dealing with their section, their piece, their lane, you know, of the earth to make the whole overall situation better.
Okay.
And you know, we may go out on ranger patrols and take data sets and extract information from the cameras, the trail cameras, fly drones, do water testing. We submit a lot of information to the Geospatial Intelligence Agency, so that, you know, they are aware and can disseminate that information to research institutes and other organizations that need vital information for their research projects. So
can I ask? Sorry to jump in there. So this data that you're collecting, are you the eyes and ears? Are you monitoring changes in biodiversity and the vegetation? And
yeah, we are more than likely the eyes and ears, a big part of the eyes and ears and the source of the information that most people are reading, you know, from the news and different reports when they give examples of deforestation and degree changes and things like that. It's the rangers. You know, the rangers are the ones that are actually out here collecting the data sets and the information, and we facilitate space and security for a lot of the researchers that come from the various universities from around the world, you know, to do their projects. So, yep, you know, exactly.
So if you had any message of encouragement or appeal to circularists in the West, in our boxes, fairly restricted, wanting to do something, not sure how to go forward, how to get funding, how to have impact, how to avert the looming disaster, what would you say to us? You're out there in nature, we're here in our boxes. Talk to us. What would you say?
Right here where I am, 500 feet from me, as soon as we get off, I'm going to run down and jump in the waterfall.
Oh, don't say that.
because it's hot. You
Life's
know,
hard enough.
it's 104 degrees in the shade right now. So
Oh,
Fahrenheit.
Dr. Shack, I in an earlier episode or an introductory episode of the Circularists, I asked the question, who does that? Meaning, who wakes up and decides they're going to turn the rest of their life over toward being a steward of the environment and being part of this effort to limit runaway global warming? Who does that? You've kind of
So
answered this because it's in your DNA, but I'm going to ask you, what was your reason? When was your moment, and why?
this is that opportunity to big up the indigenous people around the
Indeed,
planet Earth, right?
yeah, indeed.
Now, it's this, like I was saying earlier about the alien scenario and take me to your leader. The world should not overlook the fact, like I told you, that these data sets that people are quoting and that they're using to uh, uh, to quote statistics and things are coming from the work that rangers are putting in on the front lines in these rainforests and these natural ecosystems.
Right.
A great deal of those rangers are, because something that we learned years ago is that, hey, there's no better or more fitting ranger than indigenous people who eat, sleep, and breathe this nature,
Of course.
you know? So it's like we are here. So
Mhm.
it's like rather than spending a bunch of money and unnecessary funding trying to put people who aren't indigenous to the area, who aren't out here in the area, fund them, fund gas, fund Mahindras, fund Toyota Hiluxes, so on and so forth. Uh, put energy behind the people that are actually there. And what we've been doing over the years is converting these indigenous cultures and raising these indigenous cultures to operate as the world's ranger
Right.
conservation ranger forces. So it was an easy switch. You know, the majority of people that live in what I like to call Metro Babylon, they love nature, but they don't want to be out here every day in it and dealing with the mosquitoes and dealing with the hardships and things like that. Well, what we're doing is we're pioneering and we're developing an integrative culture while we're going through those hardships because it's been second nature to us. We know the medicine to take so the mosquito don't bite so often. We know the bush medicine to take to clear up colds and infections. We know these things. So as the leaders, the world needs to really look upon us as leadership
Mm,
and stop taking us for granted
right.
because a lot of the things that is hard for the world is very easy for us.
Right.
We're free energy should have been here 100 years ago. Nikola Tesla walked the earth 100 years ago,
That man.
and
Oh,
we are all scrambling because of greed.
right.
A cohort of individuals greed, not because of what uh, nature, because nature provided it. You understand?
I do. I was watching a video just last night about Nikola Tesla, um, and his theories and the way he looked back to the pyramids of Egypt. We
Mm-hmm.
think they're tombs. There are some other ideas about them being energy generators using solar energy and all sorts of things.
This is a fascinating conversation. I'm very pleased to be talking with you today.
Right. We could have had the answer. We could have gone in another, we could have taken another fork in the road, like you
Well, we
said.
did. We did have the answer because if you look at every place on the planet where there are major pyramids and structures that we can't identify, you're seeing signs that they were placed in the most abundant areas
Yes.
on the planet Earth.
Right.
All
Right.
the pyramids here are in jungles. This is an abundant place.
Right.
I guarantee that you cannot have a high energy pyramid complex in a place that is not riddling with biodiversity and biocultural abundance. That's energy again. Here we
Right.
go.
Right.
That common thread, you know. So
Yes.
our ancestors knew where the money was. They knew what
They
money is.
knew.
We're the ones that have the problem and can't figure it out because of we are cursed by the need to control something that cannot be controlled. Nature is very regenerative. Nature will purge the planet and regenerate itself to function in under a whole new operational system.
I
So
think, yes, I think so. Because the history of humanity has shown that this old reptilian brain loves to oppress and to enslave and to hold back and to compartmentalize, and the otherism and the tribalism and all of this destructive stuff that is humanity's legacy. It's run its course, and I think we're seeing the evidence around this because we're about to obliterate ourselves.
mm-hmm.
That's how dumb we are on that certain level. So in order to move forward, we have to adjust our frequency, and we have to adjust the way in which we relate to one another and to the environment. We have to adjust that because we've got
microeconomic. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You go.
The current microeconomic realities that we cultivate will become the new macroeconomic reality. So that's why it's so important for everybody to kind of get control of their sectors and their community commune. You have to commune. It's very hard to get amongst people that don't believe in what you're talking about and what you're saying and build with them.
Yeah.
So it's a high importance right now of communing with your quote unquote alikes, the people that understand the language that you're talking and the intent that you're pouring in to the things that you're doing. You'll find economists that'll look at what you're doing and they're like, circularists. They're dying, right? And they're like, circularists. It's a joke, but they're the ones that are perishing right now, the linear mentality is what's perishing right now, It's delusional. It doesn't work. And I really enjoyed our talk.
Likewise.
A lot of times there is a community, but a lot of times our work is a bit isolated, so it's like it's always appreciated to spend some enjoyable time talking to people from across the pond and in whole other areas of the planet about similar things and concepts. You've definitely stimulated me into thinking about some things that I wasn't thinking about before. So it definitely was a pleasure to meet you.
Well, absolutely. Yes, likewise. And I hope that we can do some repeat recordings, maybe out there, outside, having a look at your world, following your progress, any discoveries, any warnings that you'd like to relay back through this video series to people. We could think about all of that.
Definitely. James Brown, what he says is, it ain't nothing to it but to do it. So we put it in the atmosphere. So that it's as simple as that. And I feel like I made a friend with an audience of friends that I can, that I know that I will probably know for a lifetime. So blessings. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Chak, and keep up the good work. Look forward to hearing some updates in the near future.
Thank you so much, and please connect and check us out on check out our new YouTube page at GeoCOMPASS GeoCOMPASS to kind of stay abreast of the different things that we are doing and offerings that we are giving out to the world, to kind of show them, give them an insight into, you know, how we're moving and different ideas of how to live like a fluid circulus. You understand?
Fantastic. Fantastic. I will share the link at the end of the video and when I share in LinkedIn. And yeah, we look forward to hearing more from you.
All right. Salute. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.